Yeshua HaMashiach, whom we are grateful. We give praise, honor, and glory on this day. This is Kodash. Kodash. And on Kodash, what happens on Kodash?
So forward is going. Amen.
The round horn is sound. It's the beginning of a new month. It's the 13th month of the year. And the reason why it's the 13th month is because of the barley harvest. The significant thing, one of the significant things, if you read the Bible, you study the Bible, is the barley wave harvest that signifies Barakima, first fruit, which is the resurrection of Yeshua HaMashiach. And so if the barley is not right, the celebration of Passover, the celebration of the new month, the new year, is set back 1 month. And this also helps to keep the calendar in line with the sun, right? Because in the biblical calendar, there are only 364 days.
Amen.
In the biblical calendar. And in that 364 days, the sun has an order to go around 365. But the biblical calendar is 364. So in order for everything to be synchronized the way Yahweh has planned it, and has placed it when it's setting, periodically, the barley harvest would not be ripe, and so that keeps everything synchronized. That's the reason why you come up with the 13th month when you're looking at. Now, the Babylonian calendar or the Jewish calendar, they are under the day is a 354-day calendar. There's a difference. There's 354. And then the book of Enoch, and I'm not prepared to share you where it is in the book of Enoch, but it says in the book of Enoch that when man get to a certain point and they change the calendar, they were going to go to a 354-day calendar versus a 364-day calendar. And they'll be forever trying to get it back on in order, but they can't do it because they have violated the word of Yahweh. And so with that, people forget things. And a lot of times people say, well, I don't see a calendar in the Bible. I'm just walk through something before we get back to where we left off on Tuesday evening. Well, no, it was, yeah, it was the Sabbath, Thursday evening. And now, for the rest of the month, Saturday, what we call Saturday, will be the Sabbath. But it changes according to the renewed moon.
Amen.
Renewed moon. Okay, if you just scan through Genesis, we know that in Genesis 1:14, he gave us the sun and the moon for sign and for seasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for days and for years. And the season of the appointed times, the modim, it's not summer, winter, spring, or fall.
Right.
And still, I mean, that doesn't come up again. I think it's in Genesis 8:22 where we start seeing the season, the summer, winter, spring, and fall that is put in motion. Have you ever noticed, you know, when you read the Bible, it says, y'all put a canopy
Yes.
or Yah made the firmament and divided the water from under the water, from the water which is above the firmament. And it was so. When you talk about this firmament, this is a wedding. This is a scene of a wedding.
Oh.
Yeah. In the Jewish tradition, when people get married, they get married under a canopy, under a hoopah, under a canopy. And under this canopy, you see this firmament here is a symbol of a marriage, a wedding between heaven and earth. And that's the reason why it's thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, in the Hashemayim, and the Eretz as it is in Hashemayim. But because we have gotten away from biblical tradition, we get into our pagan culture or American culture or Western culture, and a lot of things we don't understand, okay? But if you look, Noah, when y'all start dealing with Noah in Genesis chapter 6, when you get over into chapter 7, and it says, let me find this right quick. I don't know why some days are better than others. They went in the ark. That's 6. Let's go to chapter 8, 7. I said, let's go to chapter 8. This pops out right quick. 8:13. Well, I was right. Chapter 7 first. Let's go to chapter 7 first. Chapter 7, verse 11. Genesis chapter 7, verse 11. Then we go to chapter 8. It says, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken open, and the windows of heaven were open. Now, so it let us know that there was a calendar there. We may not understand the calendar, or we may not want to understand the calendar, but it's the calendar there, right? Mm-hmm. But it goes off the moon. They don't walk around with the calendar that we have today, right? Because he put the sun and the moon and the stars in place for signs, for season, for days, and for years. Now, let's go a little further over into the 8th chapter. Yeah, there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's start with verse 5. Well, verse 4. And the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat. So now we see a calendar. We're still seeing the calendar. Verse 5. And the waters decreased continuously until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, where the tops of the mountains sing. What is significant about the 7th month and around the period of the 17th day of the 7th month?
Tabernacles.
Feast of Tabernacles, exactly. Do you know what is significant about the 10th day, the 10th month? There's a festival in the 10th month. Hanukkah, exactly. So let's skip over to verse 13. And it came to pass in the 601st year, the first month, and the first day of the month, the water would dry up from all of the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and beheld the face of the ground was dry. Interesting, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So we still see that there's a calendar here, and you'll find it in other places. and Yahweh has to get uh, the children of Israel back on track when they leave Egypt. And he tells them this shall be the head of the month for you, because the Egyptians started the year at a different time. So he was realigning his people up with the things that are in heaven. It's realigned. But today we don't want to be realigned with heavenly things. We try to stay with Roman things, and the two do not agree.
Amen.
They do not agree, and that's how we a lot of times mess things up, and that's the reason. I guess that's the reason why sometimes you can see that that Passover and quote unquote Easter do not line up. There are times when they can be as much as 3, sometimes almost 4 weeks apart uh, from the celebration. And this is because they're different calendars. Now, there's 3 calendars, remember. There's a biblical calendar, there's a Roman calendar, and there's the Jewish calendar that they use. Now, the biblical calendar is from Yahweh.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
The Roman calendar is from men, from Constantine, then Pope Gregory, the Gregorian calendar, and the Babylonian calendar came to us, or what they call the Jewish calendar came to us because of the force of Constantine on Hillel II, and that's the last Sanhedrin court you have in 365 AD. And because he forced them into changing or adopting a particular calendar and setting a fixed Sabbath instead of going with the biblical calendar, then you come up with what you know today as the Jewish calendar, but it's Babylonian. That's the reason why the months are all Babylonian.
Amen.
Right? You look right at the Jewish calendar, there it is sitting right in the middle of your face. Tammuz. And if you look at the calendar, you'll find out that that's about the time that they worship Tammuz, the weeping of Tammuz. It's about the time that month is celebrated. Okay? Now, when we left off last, we were getting into this thing in Second Timothy chapter 3, and we were looking at how man has got out and how Paul predicted. I'm not forgetting about Daniel. We'll go back to Daniel 2. We'll grab him. But there's something else that goes on. Watch this now. Just turn there because you're going to have to put your finger there. We're going to go somewhere else. Now, you know, right now people are getting ready to celebrate Easter.
Mm-hmm.
Easter. But they don't know that Easter, well, some people know, that Easter is a fertility goddess, the goddess of spring time. She is the queen of heaven, right? She's known as the queen of heaven. She's worshipped as the queen of heaven. That has nothing to do with Yahweh. And what we're saying, if Easter is the time, right, that somehow Yahshua HaMashiach became a female between the time of his death and resurrection, death, burial, and resurrection, became a female somewhere along the way. I mean, maybe when he went to hell, that Satan did a sex transplant on him. Or, you know, this is what we're saying. If he went down a male, he was masculine, and he resurrected a female, feminine, something is not right.
Right.
And so with that little bit just being said, we know that we're into false worship. Just that little bit. Right? Because see, once you see or exploit or find that there's a lie, then it's not of truth.
Right.
And if it's not of Yah. Why? Because Hasatan is the father of what?
Lies.
He's the father of lie. And when he speaks of himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because he speaketh a lie. He can't do anything else. But Yahweh, when he speaks of himself. He speaks of truth.
Amen.
So that's what Yahshua, his word is truth. And he tells us, sanctify us through thy word, O Yah, for thy word is truth. But so many people have a hard time grasping truth because they're blinded by the doctrine of devils, the hypocrisy, lies of hypocrisy, and the tradition of men.
Mm-hmm.
They're blinded by it. And we just have to keep praying for
Amen.
people to come to the knowledge of Yahshua HaMashiach. Everybody is not going to come. That's why he says, in the last days, many shall say unto me. He didn't say few. He said, many shall say unto me, Yahweh, Yahweh, or it translated in the Kingdom of James and other ones. Bible, Lord, Lord, did I cast out demons in thy name? Did I heal the sick in thy name? Did I do all the great and mighty works in thy name? And he said, I shall tell them, depart from me, ye that does what? Work iniquity. Why? Because I never knew thee. You're never intimate with me. We didn't have the appropriate relationship, intimacy. And with that, he talks about in the book of Revelation how we have played the harlot with Mystery Babylon. We're going to look at some of that in a moment here. But in the book of Revelation right quick, we're going to come back to Timothy. Then we're going to go and look at some things here. Now in Revelation chapter 2, in this ecclesia of Thyatira. So that's Revelation chapter 2, verse 18. And it's a divided ecclesia. Because it's divided because of the false doctrine. They compromise and embrace false doctrine. And that's at Smyrna, Pergamos. And now the ecclesia is divided. We still have to choose this day whom we want to serve.
Amen.
Right? And then Joshua told the children of Israel, if Yah is Yah, then serve him. Right? And is Baal is your Yah, your Elohim, serve him. But as for me and my house, we're going to do what?
Serve Yahweh.
We're going to serve Yah. So we still have that choice set before us this day. So Revelation chapter 2, verse 18, we see this. And the angel of the ecclesia in Thyatira, right? These things say the Son of Yah, who has his eyes like to a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. I know your work and charity and service and faith and your patience. And your works in the last be more than the first. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against you, because you permit that woman Jezebel, which calls herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants, to commit fornication, and to eat things sacrificed to idols. Now, when we stop and we start to look a little bit at the Jezebel, you know, a lot of times we want to put uh, Jezebel into a type of when we see people dress a certain way. Now, Jezebel did dress a certain way, right? And the Bible tells us, teaches us about dressing in martyrs' apparel, that's male and female. That's not just for the male, it's for male and female that we should dress in modest apparel. Apparel. And so this Jezebel, yes, she had on makeup, but all that stuff doesn't make you a Jezebel. It's the spirits that you're influenced by that makes you the Jezebel. And Jezebel from First Kings, chapter 21. Let's go. Let's look at First Kings, chapter 21. Let's see if we can find out a little something about Jezebel. And her husband was named who?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all know him, huh? Okay. Okay. Jezebel commits murder. Watch this. And it came to pass that after these things, that Naboth, the Jezreelite, had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the place of Ahab, king of Samaria. So it tells you here, it's close to the place of Ahab, the king of Samaria.
Right.
Right, so Ahab is from Samaria. So in Samaria, they worship the Baalims. They worship Baal, right? And Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, "Give me your vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is a near to my house, and I will give you for it a better vineyard than it, or if it seems good to you, I will give you the worth of it in money." So what is he doing here? He said, "Now I want to purchase this vineyard that you have because it's close to my place, my property." And they worship Ashtoreth and the Baalim. They worship them in the grove. Uh, so, and Naboth said to Ahab, verse 3, "The Yahweh forbid me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers to you." See, when you were given the land, right, by Yahweh, you didn't sell it. You weren't supposed to sell it. And if it was stolen for whatever reason, which it shouldn't have been stolen, in the 50th year, Jubilee, the year Jubilee had to be returned to the rightful owner, right? Even if I sold it to you in the 49th year, the next year, all the debt had to be canceled. And you had to return my property because it was Jubilee. It wasn't 50 years from the time that you purchased from me, but it's all about the time, the biblical calendar. All about the biblical time, right? Verse 4, and Ahab came into the house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him, for he had said, "I will not give you the inheritance of my father." And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would eat no more. So now he's depressed, right? Yeah, throwing a temper tantrum because he can't have his way, right? The man wouldn't sell it to him, and he told him the reason why. Right? The property was given to his family by Yahweh. But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said to him, "Why is your spirit so sad that you eat no bread?" And he said to her, "Because I spoke to Naboth the Jezreelite, and said to him, 'Give me your vineyard, for money, or else, if it please you, I will give you another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give you my vineyard. And Jezebel, his wife, said to him, do you now govern the kingdom of Israel? Are you the one that's over all of Israel? In other words, you can take it if you want it, what she's saying, what she's implying.
Right.
Arise and eat bread, and let your heart be merry. I will give you the vineyard of the neighbor, the Jezreelite. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with the seal and sent the letters to the elders and to the nobles that were in the city dwelling with neighbors. Conspiracy, lies of hypocrisy, doctrine of devils. She wrote in a letter. And she wrote in a letter saying, proclaim a what?
Yes.
Wow. I wonder what she's saying, proclaim Lent.
Amen.
Because this is a time of fast. They proclaim a fast and set neighbor on high among the people, and set two men, the sons of
Wow.
Belial. Now, there's another place the term comes up, I think in 2 Corinthians chapter 6. And we start talking about this Belial. I think it's the 6th chapter of 2 Corinthians.
Yes.
Belial.
Verse 15.
And it says here, I'll start with verse 14 so we can understand. I'll start a little further back. I'll start with verse. Okay. Okay. We'll start with verse 7. How about that?
Okay.
Now, we'll start with verse 7. By the word of truth, by the power of Yah, by the armor of righteousness on the right hand and on the left, by honor and dishonor, by evil reports and good reports, as deceivers and yet true, as unknown but yet well known, as dying and behold we live, as chastened and not killed, as sorrowful yet always rejoicing, as poor yet making many rich, and having nothing yet possessing all things. He's talking about the people of Yah. You know, we know that although some of us sometimes we lack, we still own everything because we are heirs and joint heirs with Yahshua HaMashiach. Oh, you Corinthians, your mouth is open to you, your heart is enlarged. Are you not straitened? Are you not restrained in us? But you are restrained in your own bowels, in your own emotion, in your own image, imagination. Now for a recompense in the same, I speak to you as my children, together with unbeliever. For what righteousness with unright? What concord has Christ or has Messiah with Belial? What harmony? What unity? Or what part has he that believes with an infidel? And what agreement has the temple of Yah with idols? For you are the temple of the living Yah. As Yah has said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their Yah, and they shall be my people. Wherefore, camp down. Oh, okay. I thought it would camp down among them, pitch your tent among. Uh, Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, says the Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. So what he's saying is that as long as my sons and daughters, says Yahweh, the Almighty. That was in 2 Corinthians chapter 6. Blessed name, Elder T. Good to see you this morning. So when we get back to 1 King, right, and we see that Jezebel had written this letter and got the children of Belial, the priests or the elders of Belial, right, to is actually going to set up Nabal. They're going to set him up. In verse 12, it says, they proclaim a fast. That's where I stop. I go back to verse 11. Now I go back to verse 10. That's where we stop when I mentioned Belial. Pick up at verse 10. Remember, she said we're going to set a fast. Now I just threw the question out there. Is this Lent?
Amen.
She throwing a fast. And Jezebel is all this tied into this because Jezebel worshiped Ashtaroth, the queen of heaven, the one that we call Easter. And was reading in Revelation, right, where Yahweh, Yeshua is saying to Yaakon, said that you allowed that prophetess Jezebel to come in and seduce my people. We'll go back there in a minute and look at it again before we go back to 2 Timothy. It says, let's say verse 10, and set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him to bear witness against him. Lies and hypocrisy. Right? She already submitted the doctrines of the devil, saying, you did blaspheme Yah and the king, and then carry him out and stone him that he may die. Now, what are some of the, you remember Proverbs chapter 6, abominable things unto Yahweh? About that lying lips, lying lips. That's an abomination unto him. Okay. And the men of the city, even the elders and nobles, who were the inhabitants in the city, did as Jezebel has sent to them, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent to them. They proclaimed a fast and set Nabal on high amongst the people. Now they praised Nabal, right? They're setting them up. Verse 13, and there came in 2 men. Why? It's about 2 or 3 witnesses. Every word makes it. One person coming up and saying something that wasn't good. She had to have at least 2. That's the cause. She using the word to attack. She manipulating the word. And this is what we have done in our places. Blessing Brother Smith, good to see you on today. And this is what happens. We have manipulated the word and to seduce people or cause people to do things that are not pleasing except unto Yah. 1 King chapter 21, verse 13. And there came 2 men, children of Belial, and set before him, and the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Nabal, in the presence of the people, saying, Nabal did blaspheme Yahweh and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stone that he died. Now, when they killed him, it doesn't talk about any other family members that right now that takes his vineyard, right? So it's been a little while since I read it, so you might look at there's no heir. They're going to take it. So then they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones that he died. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Nabal was stoned and is dead. And it came to pass when Jezebel heard that Nabal was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise. I guess this was Ahab's resurrection. Get up, arise, take possession of the vineyard of Nabal the Jezreelite, which he refused to give you for money. For Nabal is not alive, but dead. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Nabal was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Nabal the Jezreelite, and to take possession of it. And the word of Yahweh came to
Elijah.
the Tishbite. Now, if you notice something, right? Nabal is a what? He's a Jezreelite. Jezreel. Right? He's a Jezreel. Or a Jezreelite. He is not born an Israelite, but he becomes part of the kingdom. Right? So you probably have to check this back for a while. He becomes part of the kingdom. Same way with Elijah. He's a
Tishbite.
wow. But he's one of the greatest prophets in all of Israel. Interesting is how Yahweh, see, we get sometimes so stuck up trying to find out which tribe we're in, but it really doesn't matter because we're just one body, right? And if we did it and found out which tribe we did come from, what difference that's going to make?
Right.
It's not going to make any difference at this point in time, right? One time there was, but when these people came in, right, it's the spirit of adoption. Spirit of adoption. It goes all the way back. You can see it in Abram when he had the souls that came with them. You can see it when the Israelites left Egypt, and right, and a mixed multitude came with them. You can see it various places throughout the Bible. It's like Bathsheba. What was her husband's name? Uriah, and he was a what? Hittite. But he was serving in the army of Israel. And he had a place in the kingdom. Why? Because he had turned away from pagan gods, pagan worship, and started worshiping Yahweh. And so he had received the spirit of adoption. And people receive the spirit of adoption wherein they cry what?
Abba, Father.
Right? And they cry, Abba, Father. That's the Holy Spirit bearing witness with their spirit that they had found the son or the daughter of the children of Yah. Right? And if therefore children, they are
heirs.
Heirs. And what?
Joint heirs.
Joint heirs with Messiah. And it doesn't talk about skin complexion.
No.
We got this big old war going on with skin complexion. Right? Why? Well, what happens is, right, the way we view things is not necessarily the way they were. What you mean? If we look at, take for instance, we look at Egypt. Oh, they was all black. You know, they were black as African. But go back and look at the paintings of the Pharaoh. And there was a time in Egypt that the oh God, what's the people? I'm trying to think of the name of them. the Ethiopians, the Nubians came up and ruled over Egypt. It's like the 25th dynasty. Now, but when you look at the painting and the mosaic that is left, look at it closer, because you're going to see some very dark people. You're going to see some dark people. You're going to see some lighter people. And you're going to see some lighter than that in their mosaic that they paint about the people that are around. You can go to Greece and you'll find the same thing. So while we're looking and trying to get caught up on skin complexion, it's not about skin complexion. Yahweh separated the people by what? At the Tower of Babel, people separated how?
By languages.
By language. By language. Not by skin complexion. It's a trick of the enemy. Right. And yes, if you go through the Bible, you even see it from time to time. Excuse me. Like when you walk through the Bible, you read, and sometimes you come across scripture like Solomon said, I'm a tent, a Kedar. It's saying that he is dark complexion from the tent. And they have heard those words that he rented clothes and put sackcloth upon their flesh and fasted and laid in sackcloth and went softly. So he is again dejected. Why? Because of his ignorance. And the word of the Yahweh came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, see you how Ahab humbled himself before me? Because he humbled himself before me, I will not bring evil in his days. But his son's days will I bring evil upon his house. Wow. The days of the son after his death. Now, let's go back to Revelation once again. Chapter 2. Looking at the ecclesia of Thyatira once again. Revelation chapter 2, looking at verse 18. I'm going to read on down on Thyatira to the end of the chapter. Just look at it. And the angel or the messenger, the ecclesia in Thyatira, write these things, says the son of Yah, who has eyes like the flame of fire and the feet like brass. Tell you, this is not talking about his skin complexion, him being black. It's fire, eyes like a flame of fire. He's purified. For Yah is a consuming fire.
Amen.
Yeah. Something went wrong on this one too. Amen. Let's see if we can. I'm gonna post this and get it back up. Okay. You should be coming back on Facebook. I don't know what happened. But anyway, it's not even coming back up. Stop this one.